In this video, I'm going to show you Zip Cyan lowest styles, and I've got 5 of them picked out, as you can see on the chart, and I'm going to be explaining them as we go along here. The Zip Cyan, as you know, is a companion to the Zip Green. And Zip Green tracks trades in and out of the market. Zip Cyan is I call it a long-term tracker. It's just it's like a long-term trend line. It just allows you to see things in a little bit different perspective. But the rules are when Zip Cyan is lowest, price goes up. And when Zip Cyan is highest, price goes down. And so these 5 vertical lines that I have laid out here in this chart are the ones that we're going to be discussing. This one here on the far right is in November of 2015. And I'm in the symbol BIDU. And on this day, on this far one on the right, we have actually this is the day before the symbol turns to a Zip Cyan lowest. I'm going to move the red vertical line onto this first day, and you may have heard me discuss how to find these symbols, how to find these alerts, and these are fairly easy to find. In the video library I have how to build a scan, and you can create a scan, you can run it to automatically start at 1 minute after the market opens, and in a few minutes you'll have a list of symbols with the first day that Zip Cyan is lowest, and that's usually a good day. Depends on which angle most of your lines are in. Obviously on this day it's a down day because the vast majority of our lines are going down, but in theory, tomorrow should be a nice green candle day, and we have a situation here where the green line has just barely gone under the orange line. But I do want to point out that because it's just gone under. For example, the power green is at 11.62, the power orange is at 11.79. So I mean it's one tenth of a hundredth, or 1/100th of a point, 1/10 of a point, excuse me. So it's very small. But we do have a number of right leg W's, and again I'm just looking at the zip chart and the power chart. I'm not going to pull the other charts into this example, but more than likely our swing pink would be in a higher right leg W as well, which is one of the key the key signals to a nice green candle the next day. But in any case, we move on to the next day. We have a nice green candle. This opened at 196 and closed at 204, so it went up about $8 in that one day. And on this day, we still have a Zip Cyan highest, and so we can either stay in the trade or we can buy right at the open the following morning. And so I like to follow these through to see where we're at. And so here we're on this day. We've got a green candle. We've got the typical turnaround on this day, and by that I mean we have a zip green at 100 with all the other lines except the pink line going down. And although the pink line isn't above the yellow line, the zip yellow, it's telling us that this is a turnaround point on this peak, simply because zip yellow is down, zip blue is down, zip red is down, zip gray is down. And so this would be a logical point to exit. Obviously, you want to pick the top. You don't want to wait till the end of the day. And at this with this closing, wherever you close at, right now at the end of the day, this closed at 207.46, but its high was 209.00. So there was a $1.50 difference between trying to pick the top versus not picking the top. But on this day we have a zip Cyan at 59, and we have a zip red at 50. And so we know that zip Cyan is no longer the highest because the red is at 50. And so we're no longer in, excuse me, we're no longer in a viable zip high position to continue the next day. So we want to exit the trade. Going over here to the second red line. This red line is on the day before the zip Cyan turns up, and this might be more of a normal pattern in that we have our power green and orange lines going up. They're just under zero, but look at all of these lines: the yellow, pink, white, Cyan, blue, red, above the green and orange lines, and that's indicative of an uptrend. But in any case, the zip Cyan comes out the first day on this vertical red line, and I'm going to extend this a little bit. And typically we would wait till the following morning, and then we would buy this long. And we can see that it did gap down a little bit, and then it went down, and then as soon as it starts up, that would be our signal to buy this long. And we know one of the reasons we know this is because our zip green is still at 100. And so that day remains high at, or with zip Cyan lowest, which means prices are going to go up. So we would either stay in the trade or again buy it as though it's going to be a green candle the next day. And so shortly after we get into this position on this day where the vertical red line is, the zip Cyan has now disappeared from its highest position. And so the condition of the zip Cyan lowest, I said that wrong earlier, from its lowest position. The zip Cyan is no longer lowest, which means it's no longer, the price is no longer going to go up. So you're going to see that probably within an hour of the opening. And so you can try to catch the top or just close out of the position when you feel like it. Because at this point you've had 3 green candles, and whatever your profit is, if you bought the open on this day when zip Cyan started, and you weren't able to even buy underneath the open, because it opened at 147.04. Its low was 145.65, so it dropped about $1.35 or $1.40. So you more than likely could have bought that under the green open, but just using this green open on this red vertical line day, the open is 147.04, and if you move over 2 days later and you close, it's at 154.68. So that difference from 147 to 154 is about $7. So that's a real nice move, and all you did was watch the Zip Cyan lowest. The third one I'm going to go to is this yellow vertical line, and on this day right here, it is not highest. The Zip Cyan is not lowest, and Zip Cyan is lowest right here on this particular day. The Zip Pink happens to be at 97. And this is one of the primary reasons why I suggest that you create scans to go off immediately after the open to find the symbol list of those that you want to trade. Because this candle here, this green candle on the yellow vertical line day, that green candle opened at 136.60. It went down only 29 cents to 136.31, and then it went up from 136 to 149. So this candle went up $13 today on the yellow vertical line day. And by capturing that scan, and keep in mind I show you in the video library, you'll find several examples of how to build a scan, and you can locate these things immediately. You can trade the opens. This is one effective method that we use when we take positions. We immediately have our scans run, and within the first few minutes we can identify some key opportunities. And one of the things that makes this an excellent opportunity that is the pink, blue, and yellow, the power pink and the power blue are way up high. And you know, or maybe you don't know, but if you don't, if you're not knowledgeable of it, power pink and power blue are deep cycle indicators. They're identified as deep cycle, but they go up really high and they go down really low. And when they do, they create some nice, interesting opportunities to capture a lot of price movement. One of the conditions of the pink, as long as I'm on this, one of the conditions of a pink high, a power pink blue high, is that the yellow line must stay under it in order for it to become a true, what I refer to as a true downtrend. Now this happens to be the first day, so we got a couple more days of highs, but they're relatively speaking, it looks like they only go up about 30 or 40 cents the first day, and then the second day is about the same. But let me show you just over here inside of this, you have a Zip Pink highest. Okay, and I'll adjust these candles so that we can see properly. I'm going to move this vertical red line right here over to the Zip Pink highest. You've got Zip Pink. In this case, the next one is yellow. At this point, it doesn't make any difference because you're at the high point. Your deep cycle indicator has shown you a significantly high peak, and normally that is about to drop. But if you go over here 3-4 days, that what has happened now is the power yellow has stayed above, and the power pink, and blue are dropping down. When the yellow stays above, like over in this position over here, the yellow was down low, it was not above it, and the candles dropped immediately. That is not true with the power pink and yellow, power pink and blue, when the power yellow goes and becomes the highest line in the chart. And you can see that it basically becomes a real consolidation period. And obviously you can trade each candle, but if you're in a swing trade situation, you do need to identify with this particular condition of the pink-blue peak. Now, going back to our to our yellow vertical line, that is one of the reasons I would try to grab this right away at the open as soon as I found my scan, is because as soon as I looked at the charts, I would be able to see that my pink and blue were highest, and the chances are that they are going to go higher because I don't have a turnaround point on this day. I just got a real sharp up peak. If the thing is going to turn around, I'd get a low angle down just like I got here on this next day. You can see here on the vertical yellow line, I've got a low angle down on my power pink, and it is the highest line in the power chart. And so that, in all likelihood, that's going to go down tomorrow. In this case, it didn't go down tomorrow, it went up, but you ended up with a T-bottom doji. And just to kind of show you how you aren't going to get hurt, even if you tried to stay in this trade for a long time, the closing on this yellow vertical line is at 149.62. And the closing the next day on the yellow vertical line right now is at 149.80. So it's 20 cents apart. So, and then on that day, we definitely have we've reached that point. Actually, on this day right here, I'm going to move the line over one day to point it out. But the day before this yellow line, we have what's referred to as a pink-green peak. And what has happened, which is unusual, is the green has come up to 100. The line next under the green is your pink, and that zip pink is at 97. That's a signal when the zip pink is directly under the green at 100, and your other lines, your red, gray, blue, yellow, are all down, going down. That's an indication that the next day your price is going to be going down. And so, unlike a flat line, flat green line at 100 for many days, when the green pops up and hits just like that, we call that a pinpoint green. And there's other videos on pinpoint greens as well. But that's the result of what we have seen here in the yellow vertical line. At this point right here, the zip Cyan is highest, and I would say it's fine to stay in the trade, although at this point I do notice that I do have several indications that we're going down tomorrow. And so when I look at the candle, I've got a T-top doji. On second thought, I'm likely to get out of this on this day, because if I haven't got out on the point, on the peak, I would get out right now, because I've just got too many low angle up lines. Just in the zip chart, I've got a low angle in the pink, the red, the gray, the blue, the yellow, and even the green. And in the power chart, I have the pink and the blue and the white and the yellow in low angles, and I have the power Cyan down. Now that's a very powerful indicator, but it did not cross zero, because when the power Cyan crosses zero, the easiest way to describe it is if the power Cyan is moving up or down above zero, it indicates an uptrend. If the line is moving up or down under zero, it equals a downtrend. And so it's still above zero, but it did go down. So I would more than likely get out of that trade on this vertical line, yellow line day. The green line here again is the day before the zip Cyan is lowest, and on the green line, vertical line is now on the first day that the zip Cyan is lowest. And what we have on that day is that the zip Cyan went down as it was lowest. We always like to see when zip Cyan is lowest that it's going up, because that's the direction of that we like to go, right? And so that's when it comes in as the first day being lowest and it's going down, you definitely want to take note of the situation. If you look at the basic parameters, the power green and orange are in an uptrend, so it tells us that we're fine. We should be able to trade this and it would go up. Okay, but there's one key thing behind it that you need to identify with. Actually, there's two key things, but the main one is the day before this green vertical line, we had what? We had a red peak. And that red peak, although the yellow and the blue were real high, it did go down the next day, as we can see on this green vertical line day. But interestingly enough, the zip Cyan is under the zip green, and the basic rules when you have an uptrend, like just like we had over here, the zip green was above the zip Cyan. Over here, the zip green is above the zip Cyan. I mean, that's what the zip green is normally above the zip Cyan when the zip Cyan is lowest, and vice versa. The other thing that we have on this example here on the green vertical line is we have a big separation from the zip yellow to the zip blue. If you haven't heard me say it in previous videos, those two lines like to travel together. The zip blue almost always comes back to the zip yellow. And by example, and this is not the case in the next few days, but let me show you. By example, you have just 4 days before this vertical green line. If I move this green line back to here, the zip blue has gone way down below the zip yellow. The next day, it stays down, but it's in a low angle down mode, so it's likely to come up. And so what happens? The blue comes back up to the yellow. Boom. Over here in this area, right in here where the zip blue went way up higher than the zip yellow, and I mean zip blue here. Zip blue here is at 45, zip yellow's at 19. So there's a 26-point spread right there between those two lines. What does the blue do but go back down to the yellow? The vast majority of the time, the blue line will go back to the yellow line. This is I don't want to say an unusual exception, but it's not a typical line movement, except if you recognize that you just left. If you go over here to the first day where the zip green line is now on the first day where I said that the green vertical line is on the first day where the zip Cyan is lowest, and we had a red peak the day before, and some red peaks only last 1 day, but considering the fact that we had a zip Cyan highest as well. There's a very good possibility that it might last more. You just don't know. But you do know one thing, and let me point that out. You're going to typically, you've got zip Cyan highest, you spotted it. I'm going to take that position tomorrow. It looks like it's going up, and then it had a little pullback here, and tomorrow it's going up. Well, it doesn't happen that way. Tomorrow, which is, now I'm going to move the green vertical line over to this. Excuse me. I'm moving the green vertical line over to the second day, and now the zip Cyan line disappears. But the key thing is you're waiting for the open of this line, and it opens right here at 144.22. The previous close, it closed at 147.06. So it gapped down just about $3. And I think you know from understanding when something takes a significant gap, it usually goes down, and so gap down, go down. Here, excuse me, let me rephrase that, because I said that accurately, but I didn't include one key fact. When you have a gap down on a peak, it usually goes down. If you have a gap down when you have the zip green at 0, or when you're at the bottom, your gap down will then typically go up. Okay, just like it did, for example, on this large green candle on the left side of the yellow indicator line, yellow vertical line. It gapped down, you know, just pennies, went down and then went up. The same is true right here in the middle with this green candle, a small green candle. It gapped down and then it went up. Both of these indications were from a bottom perspective, and by that I mean your zip yellow and blue are down low, because those are the controlling things when you start out. Because obviously if I move this yellow line over here, this is the day that you would identify with the day before the zip line started. And so now we got a zip line up here. Where our yellow lines are, I'm not exactly certain. Where our zip yellow and zip blue are, I'm not exactly certain where they would be at the open. They could be down under 0, or they might be over 0, but even so, if the zip yellow and blue cross over 0, you know you got a good day, because things are going up big. And that's true with the zip Cyan as well. And you also had on the day before here, on this day before that big green candle, you had a zip red down 2 days, and it down touched the 0 line. So that is a clear indication of there's a high probability that the next day you will have a nice strong green candle. And so right after the open, that would show up. So it's relative to where your gap down is. If you're gapping down on the peak versus gapping down at the bottom, your bottoms usually go up and your tops or your peaks usually go down. So I mean, there's a few exceptions, but that's the general rule on how these things work, because it's all tied in with market equilibrium and the market forces within the market. This last one I want to show you is the red excuse me, I'm going hoarse here. The last one I want to show you is the red vertical line here. When this is the day before the zip Cyan is lowest. moving the red vertical line over to the first day the zip Cyan is lowest. The first red flag we see is that zip Cyan went down. Okay, but we also can see that 2 days earlier, or actually the previous day, from where the vertical red line is right now, the pink zip pink was lowest. And in fact, this is a pink diving board, or what we refer to as a pink diving board. They appear at the top and at the bottom. And so from that perspective, we know that we're down low 1 day back or 2 days back from the vertical red line. We then have zip green at 0. And so when it's at 0, in theory, it climbs up to some point. And so there's a real good chance that on this day, when we do have a green candle on this day, so on the next day after this red vertical line, it's going to go up. And because it went down with a green candle, you may choose to, or be able to enter that position on this day. And in fact, you would have been in the position if you find zip Cyan first day positions from a scan, because just a few minutes after the open, you would have had this on a list, and you would have picked one. And so you would have likely picked this. You would have made your position would have been higher after today, and you would have likely stayed in it based on what you see here in the situation. Because keep in mind, your zip green is above your zip Cyan already. Even though both of them went down, it's above, and it's pretty easy to see that because your zip pink shot right past your zip green and it's up in here somewhere above the green, that the likelihood is that it's going to go up tomorrow. So those are the styles that we have for a zip Cyan low.